welcome to our Mindful Flow practice this morning. Welcome everyone joining me live and also virtually if you're watching this later on a recording. Today's practice is going to be a part of our summer back to school series. It's sort of what I was calling it, where we're just kind of coming back to some of the basics of the yoga asana and understanding points of anatomy, because I personally really enjoy anatomy study, and if that isn't your second love, then it's okay. But because understanding anatomy is just very enlightening to help you with your practice, so we're going to bring in some anatomy points all through the summer as we take a look at different postures with each class. Today's posture is going to be another one that is one of the very basic ones. And once again, I think I've taught this before and I think, do I want to bring this back? I learn something new every single time I go back to school. So hopefully you'll be the benefit of some of that inspiration as well. So today's posture is going to be Tadasana, or mountain pose. But what I also learned is that there's a variation of Tadasana called Samastiti. Samastiti, I'd never heard of that posture name, but it's a variation of Tadasana, or standing mountain pose, that we do quite frequently. And so again, that was just one new point for me to learn what the difference between Samastiti and Tadasana was. But we'll get into our demonstration and kind of workshopping a little bit into Tadasana in just a moment. But first, let's just begin by bringing ourselves to a nice welcoming couple of moments to open our practice. So do find a comfortable seat and bring your sits bones down to ground into the earth, and allow your body weight to just release. Let the earth hold you for the next moment or two, rather than feeling like you have to hold yourself. That may be cross-legged Sukhasana pose, or perhaps hero's pose, or some other variation. It doesn't matter. I invite you to close your eyes, allow your hands to rest evenly and softly on your lap. And take a nice soft but deep breath in, feeling the breath move all the way down into the lungs, and then exhale and let it out. And then your next breath in, let's draw it in for a count of 3. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3. Hold and pause for a moment, and then exhale for a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Do that again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold it at the top. Allow that pause. And then exhale. 3, 2, 1. Do that one more time. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. And then at the completion of that exhale, just allow the natural, normal breath to resume. Feel into your body and respond to anything that might need a little adjustment. Releasing through the hips or shoulders. Just feel your center by starting at the crown of your head. And see if you can identify the very top and the very center of the crown of your head. And imagine a line dropping down from the center of your head into the center of your skull, down through your neck, into your chest, down into the belly, and then releasing out through the center of your seated sits bones. Just imagine that line there, without trying to strain or trying to stretch to find it. Just kind of allow your body to sway a little bit forward and back, or maybe even a little bit to each side, until you feel like you can identify exactly where that line is. That's going to be important later. So let's imagine that line even in this seated posture. Take a couple more breaths. Allow your eyes to open. Very nice. And wherever you felt yourself coming into that center in this seated posture, see if you can remember what that felt like, because we're going to bring that into what we move into next, which is actually going to be our Tadasana standing. Let's just roll the shoulders around a couple of times. Make sure everything's loose and open and feeling like there's not anything sticking or stagnant. Maybe bring your arms forward and or bend your back, and then open them up. Take a little back bend forward. A couple little seated cat-cows. Just letting your spine find its own mobility this morning. Few drops of oil on the creaky bones that we wake up with. All right, and then open up again. Nice. Let your arms rest down. Okay, so we're going to get right into Tadasana, or mountain pose, to start with. And I'm going to stand. And just make sure that you can see, you can sit or you can stand here if you want to start. I'm just going to give you a few action points. I've pulled my camera back hopefully high enough today so that you can see the full body anatomy as I'm standing. But again, just make sure you can see. So, one of the really key things about Tadasana, or any standing pose for that matter, is of course building it from the feet. So our feet have a lot going on in them. And the feet having probably well over 100 tendons and ligaments, 28 bones, there's 26 muscles. So there's a lot of activity going on in the feet to make sure that we are balanced and that we have full use of mobility over any terrain. Of course, through evolution, those feet were meant to be able to go over any kind of terrain. We didn't have shoes on, we didn't have our Nikes and our arch supports, so the feet really had to do the work. And so a lot of times when the feet get weak, that's where we can introduce strain or pain, or the not moving with the efficiency that the body is really meant to engage in, because the feet have become lazy and weak. And then that affects our posture, of course, but it also affects all of our forward motion. So we really want to pay attention to the feet. And in Tadasana, standing mountain pose, we're building this pose from the feet. So look down at your feet first of all, and bringing the feet so that they are parallel, pointing forward, is the first item of action. So when you look down at your feet, I want you to bring your thumbs to your hip bones. See if you can find your hip bones and press in at the hip bones. And essentially our first line of alignment is going to be a line going down from the hip bone straight into the middle of the foot. So the middle of the foot, if you pull up your toes, you might see your bones appear. And as you see those bones kind of lift as you lift your toes, take a look at the bone from your second big toe. And that's roughly going to be the center of your foot. And we want that bone or that line to go straight back into the heel and then up into these hip points. If that makes sense. So a lot of times when we're straightening the feet, we sometimes look at the inside of the foot, and we're drawing a line from the outside of the big toe back to the heel. But unfortunately, what that does is it pronates the feet outward, because your big toe base is wider than the outside, and so you're kind of pronating to the outside. We want to make sure that those feet are perfectly straight, and I know I'm spending a lot of time micro-analyzing the feet, but it's for a good reason. All right, so take a look down at those feet. See if you can imagine that line as it comes up. Your feet are now straight. And then I want you to think about the base of your foot. Thinking of the fact that there's a triangular design with 3 arches of your feet. One is coming from the big toe base or the big toe mound back to your heel. The other one's coming from the 5th toe base back to the heel. And then one across the top part of your foot. So think about that triangle. And then as you're thinking about the triangle, I want you to see if you can press equal weight into those 3 points. A lot of times you'll hear a cue, and this was often used with me as well, to ground through the 4 corners of your feet. Well, actually there's just 3, and I think it makes it a lot more sensible to think about the heel being 1, the little toe, and then the big toe. So see if you can feel your weight pressing down in all 3 of those corners of the triangle, all 3 of those points. And sometimes that means that you may need to pull yourself a little bit back. A lot of times we're forward-thinking animals. We think about moving forward, pressing forward. Sometimes that means we got to bring a little bit of more weight back into the heel. So now we've got the feet grounded, and I want you to bring your mind back to that imaginary line we used when seated, from the base of your skull, straight down through the center of your body. And then now that line is going to extend straight into the center between your 2 feet. So if you imagine a rectangle or a box between your feet, then that line goes right down into the center. There's a center point that is your gravitational center. Last point is that there's also a plumb line to think about your body from the side. So we want to have a plumb line from your ear to the top of your shoulder, to the middle of your hip point, and then the middle of your foot on the outside. So what this is just a nice standing up position, but what this does is it helps you to understand if you're a little bit reaching forward, and you may need to look in a mirror, you may need to practice this later because it's hard when you're just looking at yourself here. But you really want to see that lateral plumb line as well. All right, with all of that stuff in place, I know that's a lot of discussion. Bring yourself back to this feeling of your center. Bring your gaze so that it is parallel to the floor, so looking out and not down. Relax your shoulders down. Slide the tips of your shoulder blades slightly down toward your waist. And now, last thing I want to point out is that we want to maintain a beautiful curve of the spine. So the curve, even though you're trying to stand up nice and tall and show me this good posture and feel yourself straight with all of those plumb lines, it is important that your spine have its natural curves. So we're not tucking the tailbone in, we're not trying to push it forward and keep it super straight. We're letting the natural curve of the lower back find its place. But at the same time, feel as if you can draw your navel in. Use just the musculature of the lower abdominals to draw in without moving the pelvis and create a very stable base of support. All right, that is a lot of discussion about a very simple standing pose, am I right? See if you can feel into this pose, and I invite you to make it a little more challenging, or perhaps this makes it easier by closing your eyes. Make sure that your knees are relaxed. Still feeling the awareness between those 3 points of the triangle of your foot, the arched triangle. Go through that little checklist that we worked on. Feel the plumb line. Imagine it dropping down into the center between your feet. And once you feel yourself absolutely centered and grounded, just relax into your breath. Relax the tips of your fingers. Relax your jaw. Let your knees be slightly soft. And let's take 3 more breaths here in Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Breath in, relax, and now just let your body go. Ooh, let it all go. And when you let it go, you realize how much effort it took to just hold all of that in place, because it's not natural to us, and yet it's so important. It is the basis and foundation of our human anatomy. Right, well, I hope that was instructive. Come on to the front of your mat if you're not there already. And we're going to bring in some mountain pose today, but first we're going to loosen up a little bit and move as well. So let's inhale, bring the arms up, reach them overhead, and then exhale, hinge forward from your hips, and let your hands drop down and fold. Take a deep breath in, lift your head just enough to lengthen through your spine, perhaps bringing your fingertips to blocks. And then exhale, fold forward again. Inhale, bend your knees. Let your feet step backwards to a plank position. Hands underneath your shoulders. Now lifting in through those abdominals, taking ever so slightly of a pelvic tilt to really engage through the core body. Breathe in, exhale, allow your knees to drop down and press back to extended child with your toes curled under. So more of a bowing down child. Take a full breath in. Exhale. Inhale up, come back to table position. Lift your knees and let's press back to downward facing dog. Now lifting those hip bones high, pressing them toward the back of the mat. Lifting our heels up and then pushing the thighs toward the rear. Relax your neck. Press down through your thumbs and index fingers and feel the base of support moving up your arms into the outside of your shoulder blades. Deep breath in. Exhale. We're going to inhale and come down down to hands and knees once again. And then exhale, drop both elbows down in a four-armed table, letting both elbows drop and releasing your head. Look backwards between your knees. Release your neck. Take a breath or two here. Just let gravity work on pulling stress out of the vertebra of your neck. You can even move your head around a little bit if you want to rotate the neck. A couple of little rotations. And then inhale, lift your elbows up. You'll be right back in tabletop. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath here. Exhale. This time we're going to inhale and just bring the left knee forward. Left knee forward and down, and then lift your right leg up. As the right leg lifts, again, drop the elbows down, forearms coming to the mat. Keep that right leg lifted. So now it's that same position, except the right leg is extended and lifted. Inhale, lift your elbows, come back up to your palms. Right foot comes down, and then press back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath. Exhale. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, let your right knee roll forward, come down. Left leg lifts up behind you. And as it lifts, lower both forearms down to the mat. Maybe your forehead comes very near the mat. And then inhale, come back up to your palms. Left foot taps down. Press back to downward facing dog on your exhale. All right, so now you know the pattern. We're going to do that a couple more times. Inhale, left knee down. Right leg floats up. Exhale, lower your forearms, bow down to the mat. Inhale, come back up to your palms, let your right leg come down, and exhale back to downward facing dog. One more time on the other side. Inhale, right knee comes forward and down. Left leg lifts up behind. Exhale, head comes down, lower down to your forearms. Inhale, press up, getting a little tricep work here, there, a little sneaky tricep work. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Stay here for a full breath this time. Inhaling. Exhale. Walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Keep your knees as soft as they need to be. Hands can come to the mat or to your blocks. Lift to fingertips, lengthen your head and spine forward. Exhale and fold it down again. Inhale, arms sweep out to the side. Lift all the way up, reaching your arms overhead. And exhale, hands down by your side. Invoke Tadasana, mountain pose. Take your time, build this posture again. A lot of times, mountain pose is just a transition getting from one place to the other, but it is also a wonderful posture for its own sake. 2 more breaths in mountain. Find that plumb line. Feel the triangle of support in your feet. Very nice. Lift your arms up. Reach them overhead. Exhale and forward fold once again. From this forward fold, step back with your left foot, taking it into a lunge position. Low runner's lunge. Take a minute, just stretch that left foot back, left leg. Feel into the hip flexor. Ooh, if you haven't done a lunge yet today, this might be a little tight. That's what we're here for. Taking it slow. And then we're going to walk the hands to the left side of the mat, coming into wide leg forward fold, Prasarita Tadasana. Walk your hands back so that they're in line with the arches of your feet. Let your head drop down, but lift up through the inner thighs. And then simply roll up to your fingertips. Lengthen your spine forward. Exhale and fold it down. Place your left hand under your head. Right hand reaches out to the side. Shift your pelvis to the right. Turn your ribs. Lift up for a wide leg twist. Deep breath. Lift those fingertips a little bit higher. Open up into the armpit. And then let your right hand come down. Left arm comes out to the side. Again, take the twist on the other side. Deep breath in. Exhale, hand comes back down. Keep lifting up through those inner thighs. Bring your hands to your waist. And lift up. Nice hinging action with a strong core. Come to a standing position. Open your arms out to the side. Lift them up and overhead. Fingertips reach together. Deep breath in as you frame your head with your arms. And then open the arms wide. Turn your right toes toward the front. Take warrior two legs and then bend into that right knee. Find your foundation. Build it from the ground up. Take your time. A deep breath or two. And then we'll take the left arm around, carry it forward and down. Bring it all the way down to the mat for a low runner's lunge once again. Slide the right leg back and take plank position. Take a breath in plank. Exhale. Let your knees come down and press back to an extended child's pose. Take a full breath in and out. Exhale. Inhale, come forward to hands and knees, and exhale back to downward facing dog. Take a full breath here. Really moving energy and finding extension with each breath. And then walk your feet forward or hop to the front of the mat. Come again to forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side. Strong core lifts you up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale and forward fold once again. This time stepping back with the right foot into a low lunge position. Pausing here for this first lunge on this side. Ooh, that right hip flexor now waking up. Using those gluteal muscles, the back of your right thigh. Taking care that your left knee is stacked directly over your left ankle. And then we'll walk the hands around to the right side of the mat. Again, taking Prasarita. Sliding your hands back so there's an imaginary line between your arches of your feet and your palms. Let your head drop forward and down. Deep breath, roll up to your fingertips, lengthen your spine forward. How long can you make that line? And then exhale, fold forward again. Right palm stays down on the mat. Left arm comes out to a T. Shift your pelvis, your ribs, and then spiral up into your shoulders, lifting into a twist. Nice deep breath. Let the left arm come back down to the mat. Substitute it with the right. Right arm comes out to the side. Shift and take your twist. Exhale, right hand comes down and forward fold. This time pull into your core, lift up through the navel, bring your hands to your waist, and start to lift all the way up. Arms reach out to the side and then lift them up and over your head. Touch your fingertips together. Beautiful. Press down into your feet. And then bring your hands out to the side. Turn your left toes toward the front. And drop into Virabhadrasana 2. Once again, beautiful warrior. Taking 3 or 4 breaths here. Enjoying each posture for its own sake. And then we'll take the right arm around, bring it forward and down and back to a lunging position. Left leg slides back, plank pose, pressing down into the palms. Nice strong abdominals, holding everything up. And then let your knees come down once again. Press back to extended child, keeping your toes curled under, lengthening your hands forward. Breathe here. Come on back up to all fours position, tabletop. From this tabletop, we'll once again press the knees up and come back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're going to lift the right leg up this time, coming to a split leg or 3-legged dog. And then we'll draw the knee in toward the chest, reach it forward, and bring it up into a lunge position. Taking care here to feel the strength from your left leg, noting the position of your right knee and ankle, and then lift up nice and strong, pressing through that strong front foot, but using those back leg muscles to really gauge your balance. Lift up to high lunge position. Soften those shoulders just a little bit, maybe a little bend in the elbow. Bring in some softness. Beautiful. From high lunge, we're going to step forward. Left foot steps forward. Reach your arms up and bring your hands down by your side. Coming into Tadasana once again, getting lots of practice with this pose today. So as we take Tadasana, take the time to go through the checklist. Feel into the feet. Check the position of the alignment. Feel into the corners of your feet, the 3 points of the triangle. Legs are strong, navel's drawing in. The beautiful curve of your spine is still natural and soft. Take 2 more breaths here. Exhale. One more. And release. Bring your hands up, reach them overhead, stretch, and this time we're going to come and lift those heels up. So attempting once again to invoke the feeling of that line of support, the plumb line. Now, feeling how important that is to know where that plumb line is as we create balance by standing on simply the balls of the feet. Once again, navel drawing in. forward. Beautiful standing toe balance. You've got this. Let the heels fall down or drop down gently. And forward fold all the way. Uttanasana. Lift up just to fingertips, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale and fold it down. From forward fold, walk your feet back to downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and out here. Feel comfortable in your dog. And then lift your left leg up. Three-legged dog now, left leg reaching up behind you for a little stretch. And then we'll draw the knee into the belly and bring that left leg forward for low runner's lunge. Preparing to lift up, press down through that left foot. Engage in that right gluteal muscle. Use that lower core to help lift you up. Find your high lunge position. That right leg keep you nice and steady. Soften into those arms one more time. Very nice. Step forward this time with the right leg. Lift your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down by your side. Now this time we're going to take this Tadasana variation. This is one that we do quite often in class, and as I said before, I just never realized that it actually was a posture in and of itself. So in this variation of Tadasana, the feet are slightly wider than they would be in a narrow-footed position. Now, generally speaking, I usually have us keep those feet hip distance anyway, so this isn't really a big change. A lot of times Tadasana is taught with the feet very close together. So we're going to keep the feet basically in that same hip distance posture. All we're doing differently is bringing our hands to our heart instead of the hands being down by the side. So bring your hands to prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the heart. And then move into your Tadasana posture once again. Building from the ground up. Invite you once again to close your eyes. Feel into the weight between the front corners and the heel of your foot. Shoulder blades are sinking down towards your waist. Navel drawing in. Of your feet are engaged. Are you pulling into those knees, or can they be a little softer? Very nice. Now from here, we're going to lift the hands up, open up your eyes, bring the arms overhead, and one more practice with the heel lifts this time. Lifting up. Fingers reaching gently skyward. Plumb line is steady. Breathe. Two more. And one more breath. Exhale, lower your heels. Sweep the arms down and forward fold, Uttanasana. Beautiful. Inhale, come lift halfway up, fingers to your blocks or to your shins. And exhale and fold. Step back to a plank position. Establish your plank, take a breath here, fully in and out. Exhale. Inhale once again. And this time lower your knees. Let your belly come all the way down to the mat. Widen your feet slightly. Bring your forearms down to the mat. Press down into your hands. Lift up your chest, taking Sphinx position. Pressing the tops of your feet down on the mat. Letting the energy gently glide up through your breastbone. And carry your heart forward. Breathe here. One more breath. Nice. And your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lift yourself up and go ahead and come all the way to your seat. Bringing your legs around in front and extending them down the mat. Do just a little bit of a hip release here before we go all the way down. Bend your left knee. Bring the left foot into the inner right thigh. So opening up the left hip in Tadasana, sit up nice and tall, lift your arms up and overhead, and then exhale, hinge forward over your right leg, bringing your heart towards your foot and releasing into that left hip, meaning you're letting it roll to the outside, letting your belly come down, maybe your hands come all the way down, maybe you're up halfway. Just feel into the stretch and opening you need. You can stay here for 3 more breaths. Your right leg is active in this pose. Your foot is flexed. You're still drawing your heart forward with each breath. Feeling a little bit more resistance melt away. Change legs. Let's give that the same treatment on the other side. Right foot into the inner left thigh. Sit up on those sits bones nice and tall. Bring your arms up and overhead. Lift and extend, and then cascade forward over the left leg. Wherever you touch down, pause there. Don't try to force it any further. Just take a breath or so. Let the right hip continue to open and roll to the outside. And then in your next 4 or 5 breaths, you can carry and stretch the lumbar spine as you bring the heart forward and come down a hair at a time. A stopping point or any type of sensation that borders on pain, please stop. Please pause and pull it back. Lift up, sliding your hands back. Extend both legs down the mat. Roll all the way down to your back. So now we're going to take a second variation of this from a supine position. So bring that left foot again into the inner right thigh. Yeah, so we're opening up the left knee, but this time we're letting gravity do the work of opening the hip. You can just have your hands gently resting on your belly. And just let your left hip Open up. Now your right leg is completely relaxed. So this is a much more supported and relaxed version of Janusrasana. Or you can think of it as a supine tree pose, laying down with your foot in tree pose position. Breathe and let that energy soothe your lower back and pelvis. Extend the left leg down, and let's take that same position on the other side. Right knee bent, letting the right knee just drop open and relax and release. Gravity is doing all the work for you. Mother Earth is offering you the energy of grounding. Lift that right knee back up and bend both of your knees and bring them to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Pull them in. Perhaps rock side to side. Give your hips and lower back the massage that they need. Stretch. Extend your left leg all the way down. Keep your right knee drawn into the chest, and then just pull gently your right leg over to the left, stretching into the outside of your right hip and into the gluteal muscle. And then let your right arm take a position in a T off the shoulder. You want to turn your neck and drop your chin and ear down toward the mat. Feel free to do so. See how much you can let go of the resistance. To the center. Extend the right leg all the way down. Hug that left knee in, and then just gently draw it across the body, stretching now into that left glute and hip. Relaxing and letting it come down, and then open your left arm out to the side. Feel free to turn your head and neck once again if you'd like to do so. To the center. Let's extend both legs long. Set ourselves up in a position for the ultimate release in Shavasana. Bring your body to a completely neutral zone where every muscle is free to just take a vacation. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. No need to hold on. Just simply allow your body to melt into the mat. you're still. Yourself into a little ball, and then open up again. Roll to one side and come on up. Together we'll smile and say hello once again as we close our practice. Lift those beautiful arms up, reach into the universe. Breathe in universal spirit of love and carry it down to the heart center. The light in me is honored and grateful for the light within you all. Thank you so much for practicing. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.